happened was about every 5 or 6 years I would do another draft. And ideas would percolate in my head, and I would think up things, and then I say, well, it's time, I guess I better do another draft because I have all this stuff that I've got to get written down. So I once figured that I did, probably over the 30-plus years, I did 6 or 7 drafts. And then just for aspiring writers, I will say that they were finished drafts each time. So I was always somebody who had finished a novel, not somebody who was going to write a novel. Nobody ever read it. My wife never read it, my children never read it, nobody ever read it. The only people who maybe read it were the people I sent it to, and I doubt that even they read it. And the reason they didn't read it, I didn't give it to them. And the reason I didn't give it to them was the rejection slips were so painful to me that I thought it was a terrible waste of time and a hunk of junk. From day one, it really began where this story begins, and it ended where this story ends, more or less. So it had the same trajectory in it. So anyway, I would finish these things, and each draft was at least twice as complex as the one before. If you double a number 6 or 7 times, you get up to 64 and 128. So this product is about 128 times more complex than what I wrote at Stanford in 1974, but basically it's the same story. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, it was what was inside of me and needed to be expressed. I look at it now and I say, this is the story. This is it. I'm really glad that it wasn't accepted early on, because I have drafts. I have all the drafts, and it was not good. Every time I did a draft, I would send it out about 4 or 5 times. I wasn't one of those people that had 90 rejection slips. I would do it 4 or 5 times, and but my skin was so thin that it really made me feel terrible. And who'd want to do that to himself, you know? So I did it. Have you ever thought about paying the return postage? You know, think about it for a minute. You take a bullet and you send it through the mail, and you say, would you please shoot me with this bullet? You know?